Alright, we're good. So which games did you want to go over?
Let me see here. Not my most recent one. There was one.
Yeah, you spammed the shit out of this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go through the builds if you wanna pick your game. I can look at your build order to see if there's anything fundamentally wrong with it.
Okay. How about the one where I lost? I played on a team with Shadow Fiend, Faceless.
Sure. So this actually looks like a pretty tough game, because you're gonna have a hard time doing anything to the sniper or the puck. And those are the main guys, I'm assuming. I don't think they'll see that. Did she get big? She got a fuck ton of dual damage.
Yeah, so one of my questions was I built BKB and Satanic. I would pop both of them, but I'd still kill myself on their blade mail.
You shouldn't be dying to blade mail if you have Satanic popped.
I know, I'd have both of them on.
Well, it could be she was just doing enough damage, or if you're like disabled in one way or another, like if you're getting headshot a lot or Silver's Edged. I guess Silver's Edge doesn't. I guess we can see when we get in the replay.
Okay.
It could just be like you got so far behind that it didn't matter at that point. But we'll see.
I started off with those items because I knew I was going to be in lane against Legion.
I don't think the extra tangos are worth it. Cause like by the time that you need, or by the time that you've used a full set of tangos and a salve, you're probably gonna already have flown out something to yourself, and you can just add the tangos onto that, at least in this lane, and with this hero. So like when you fly out your Wraithband for your Aquila or whatever, if you go that build, then you could get tangos with it. But it's just kind of like you're setting a lot of your starting gold to not really do anything. So like you're not gonna actually use your second set of tangos until like 4 minutes in the game or something like that. So that's just 150. Is that 150 now? I think it's, yeah.
I think so.
It's 150 gold that you're just sitting on that's doing nothing for you. And LC usually isn't aggressive enough for you to be eating through these constantly. Maybe if it was a different lane where they were more steadily harassing you, like a steady slow harass from like a Skywrath or a Necrophos or some shit like that, then this might be good. But the only times that you're gonna like need to tango is like after you've been nuked twice, or some shit like that. And if you get your stick sooner, you get the extra 0.5 health regen from this ticking sooner. So your 150 gold, when you actually get 200, which would be 150 gold sooner, you start actually producing something with your gold, which is the 0.5 health regen. Um, and you should definitely be using your quick buy. Like I'd have my treads and my Aquila, or if you're going Mask of Madness without Aquila or whatever, definitely have it in there, because it's just kind of like, why not? And I think that was one of the things we talked about. I talk about that with like all of my students.
Yeah, I will say that most of my games I start off with that.
Okay. As long as as long as you know that that's what you should be doing. If you forget, it's kind of like fine. And with this, it's you want to block, but you don't want it to be under your tower. So this is just kind of like, try and block with your screen right here, as opposed to over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then you can see, oh shit, these are gonna run into my tower. Okay. And that's gonna push more than, like, even if your range creep dies off here, which it doesn't, it'd still be like, this deletes the first 3 melee creeps, and now
the lane really pushed.
Yeah, and
you're
you're
a lot of last hits.
Yeah. Like right now, let's assume that you didn't do this. You'd probably have like you would have had 2 or 3 more last hits, and you would have had like 150 more gold. You'd be really close to your boots right now, because you would have the 150 gold from the last hits, and then the 150 from not getting the second set of tangos. You'd be like 50 gold from your boots, and then you can a lot easier harass the Luna, or not the Luna, the LC, because it's kind of like, if you look at your commitment to the creeps as like, you just need to be there for the last hits. Any other time's just kind of like wasted. So boots, so this creep's gonna die in however many seconds, and let's say with boots, or without boots, you can only run to here and then back to last hit it. But with boots, you can go a little bit farther. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So, under the same light, if like you have to be right here to harass her, with boots, you can go there, hit her once or twice, zone her out some, and then go back and get your last hit.
Okay.
Which is like, this is a very minor example of it. But like, if the melee creeps like spread out more, like let's say there's 1 creep on this guy, this creep's on this one, these 2 are on this one, and then this one's on this one, and they're like full health, then you would have a lot of time to run around and attack her, and yeah, you have like 1,000,000 movement speed on Luna, so the boots are even just better. And this is, I don't like pointing out too many last hit mistakes, but this one's kind of important. It's recognizing that this guy isn't taking any damage.
So I shouldn't hit him.
Yeah. The one thing to consider with that, though, is you want to get this one first, because this one's going to expire soon. But if the creeps, I think if this guy was closer to like right here instead of right here, it wouldn't have mattered. But because he's right here, these guys are going to default to this guy instead of that guy.
Okay.
But if he was closer, then it might be a different situation. Does that all make sense?
Right. I get it.
Nice. And that's a really good thing to do. I don't know if this is like conscious or not, but and this is mostly a mistake by her, but understanding that when these creeps die off, it's gonna go onto her. So if you can, the lane's pushing anyways. So let's say you, it'd be easier if you were a higher level, like level 4. You could like glaives to kill this and do a little bit of damage on her. But by killing this off quicker, you would make all your creeps go on her quicker. so that you're 0.8 second stun and this guy's 1.5 second stun, you would have the whole creep wave on her too, which is basically like, right now you basically have 4 heroes worth of damage that's gonna go on this chick. And it's good that, like, yeah, it's just understanding that when the creep wave dies, it's gonna go on her next.
Right.
Which is like, it sounds super simple, but it's like, not until you realize it do you actually realize it, if that makes any sense. I think here I'd be getting an Aquila. Because the lane's going so well, and you're low on mana.
Okay.
I would try to get the Wraithband and the Sage's Mask and a Clarity, and fly that out as soon as you can, and then pick up your Ring of Protection from here. Because the Ring of Aquila will allow you to take this tower much easier, and it'll solve your mana problems. And you're probably going Mask of Madness, so you're gonna want, like, the Aquila is gonna slow down your Mask of Madness, but you're gonna get the tower sooner, which means you can do shit like pull this a lot better, and then she'll get nothing. And you'll be getting around the same-ish. And it's just kind of like the lane's so won at this point that she can't really stop you from doing that.
Alright. I haven't been pulling that hard camp at all.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to do when this tower's dead, because when your creeps like meet here, they usually die off when you're pulling this, and then their creeps run into yours at around here, and then it's like, have you experienced that where like half of your creeps are going on their creeps, and then like you might get a range creep or whatever when you try and pull this? That's because the tower's here and it kills off your creep wave. But if the creep wave was here, you wouldn't have to deal with any of that, and you could just pull this, because you have to pull here. So the amount of space that you have between the creeps is really small. Like the amount you can pull the creeps like here-ish, and then the tower's here-ish. So like, if the creeps aren't under the tower, they're right here, which will fuck with it anyways. So if you can take the tower, it's a lot easier to pull this. Like, imagine if all of this was moved up to like right here with the tower dead. It would be so easy to pull this.
I gotcha.
And your Aquila would allow you to do that better. And then, of course, the tiny little, this guy's also going to have more mana regen, so you can kill better.
Okay.
This is kind of good. Like, I like what you're doing, but it's, you have to
sitting there.
Yeah, exactly. You have so much gold that's just kind of like not doing anything. But I like that you're going aggressive. It's just, and you barely miss this, but it's fine if your mindset is, I value the last hits more than harassing the LC or trying to kill her. But I want to try and get as much as I can. So if this is more pushing your boundaries of how long you can be away from the creeps and come back and still get it, then it's fine. But if it's like, I want to kill this LC, that's all that matters in this lane, then this isn't fine. So early kills don't really like do anything anymore. I should probably find the 2 kills. Level 1 through 5 have been like nerfed over and over and over for how much you get for kills and like the death time.
Because the respawn time is so much shorter.
Yeah. Where is it? And it's also something like you get 30 gold or some shit for killing someone at level 1.
I think it's like 150.
Yeah, it's either gold or experience. One of them is super low, like 30.
I think it's experience because I want to say kills are 150, 140. First blood's 250.
Yeah, first blood is, if you can get first blood, it's good. The first hero killed in a match gives a bonus 150 reliable gold to the killer. It's not saying the... I don't know where to find that. I remember it in the patch notes, but I don't know where to look it up. I'll find that later, though. But yeah, early kills are just kind of like... She starts with a TP, so the first kill doesn't even like set her back the 50 gold if she buys back. And then also when you go aggressive on her to kill her, you usually drag the creep aggro onto yourself instead of your creeps. So their creeps are attacking you, your creeps are attacking their creeps are dying and yours aren't, so you push into their tower. So yeah, you might have killed her and got like whatever golden experience, but then she's gonna have like a few waves under her tower for free, and then she ends up getting her level 3, and she's a lot harder to deal with at that point. She should have a point on her heal because it takes off ignite, but that's just kind of like her being bad. But if she had 1 point in this, 1 point in this, and 1 in this, she'd be really hard to deal with. Or at least like kind of hard to deal with, because this guy's ignite does nothing. She gets healed up, and she has the movement speed, and if you trade with her alone, she can, if she's lucky, like beat you out in a trade. Or like right here, she might be able to win the trade. I think, yeah, she wins the trade here, because she's going to be taking this range creep, and then you're going to be taking all of these creeps.
Right.
But the range creep for her means that she has a chance to proc this. Whereas for you, it's just you're taking a bunch of damage, and she has a stealth shield. But yeah, it's 4 minutes in the game, and you haven't even touched your second set of tangos. And this is kind of like understanding that your goal in this lane is not to shut down the LC. Like, there's a priority list, and your #1 priority is getting your own farming experience. And right now, you're giving that up to, like, lose a trade to the LC. Lol. Now I'd be pushing hard here. And this is kind of like, imagine if you had an Aquila instead of your treads. You'd be able to push with a catapult with your 2 armor aura. Like, she might come back. Yeah, her TP's up. So she'd come back, but if you pushed here with an Aquila, you'd get an extra like 2 or 3 at least siege creep attacks on the tower, which would be an extra like 100 or so damage, and you'd be getting your mana back, which is not too big of a deal because this guy has arcane boots. But like your treads aren't gonna do as much as the Aquila would right now.
Okay.
And that's just kind of like my thought process on that is we're winning enough that I can just push the tower and then open up the jungle, and then my like if this tower's still up, it's a lot harder for you to jungle because the most that you can push is like not enough. Like when you go from here to here, that opens up like you can be in the jungle for 30 seconds longer and then come back and have only missed a few creeps. Whereas if this tower's up, you're like locked to these two camps. Does that make sense? Yeah, like if you push up to here, you can like take this and then like come back and the creep wave will be back here, and then you push again and then you can like go do some others and then come back. Like the space between right here and your max push limit almost doubles. Which means the amount of time before it resets and comes back to you is about double. What you can often do is just this is like a higher this is more of what higher games look like. But when you take this tower, would you agree that Luna's a hero that can get about as much out of jungling as she can laning?
I would agree.
Yeah, her and Sven and like AM kind of. They're the main heroes that can just leave the lane and get just as much, but it's usually safer to do this. So what would happen is if you push this and you take this tower and then you start to jungle, and then like let's say Void shows up bottom or whatever because he sees you're like jungling over here and it's like starting to push. That's basically you have 3 lanes getting fully farmed, and then you also have a jungle getting farmed just as much as the lane. Or the ogre can do it, and this is a really good way for your people that made space for you to get back into the game. Let's say you by doing this, your ogre gets a glimmer or a 4-staff 5 or 10 minutes sooner. Then that's gonna save you, and you're gonna get the same amount of farm. And you already took this tower down. And also what taking this tower does is it allows you to push, and then instead of going to the jungle, you can go to the enemy's safe lane with your ult. And your huge presence with your ult and your level 4 Lucent Beam, and you can just like take this tower too. And then it's like sub 12 minutes, and you already have 2 towers taken and they have none. And then you start taking control of these camps while they're just like losing control of everything. And like what's a sniper gonna farm when like a sniper could farm here, but then when it pushes past like here with this tower down, he can't farm that, and he can't really jungle either. And this is also pushed in, and then Puck's mid. So imagine being the sniper right now and having both of your tier 1s down, and you only have like phase boots. Like, where would you go farm?
Nowhere good.
Yeah, exactly. So Aquila would help you in that early pushing, but that's also, this is good because it opened up me talking about how getting the early towers is important. The meta right now, at least in the higher games, from what I've heard and understood, is the heroes that are like good carries are the heroes that can be usually babysat for the first like 4 or so minutes, and then they get like an item, and then with the offlaner being like level 2 or 3, they can zone them out, or at least keep getting their own farm, and then take this tower early, and then rotate to the enemy safe lane. So heroes like Morphling, Luna, Chaos Knight, kind of. He'd rather have supports there because he likes getting kills. Huskar's like never gonna be really like pub meta, but he's pretty good right now. Troll, Venge is kind of seeing a comeback. but PL's also kind of seeing a comeback. But does that all make sense?
The early bonus gold that you get from taking towers and their loss of farm.
Well, it's not so much the gold. It like the gold is super helpful, but it's at like the bottom of the list of why you want to do it. The top of the list is like, if you take both of these towers, then the sniper can't really farm anywhere too effective, and it opens up like so much space for you to do stuff. Like if you leave the lane with this maxed pushed out right now, which is like right here, the amount of time before this LC is going to be punching your tower is like 40 seconds or something like that. But if you push it all the way, he's kind of scared to even be up here, and it's going to take him like a minute and 10 seconds to push it out.
Okay.
So you can come up here and then not really worry about your safe lane being taken, and like if you see an LC pushing from here to here, it's a lot more likely that somebody's going to react to it rather than pushing from here to here. Would you agree?
Yeah, okay.
So like your ogre could even like go bottom when it's at the tower and soak up that experience while you're taking their safe lane or whatever, and then like try and cancel LC's TP or whatever if she goes up there. So you're having a position 4 and a position 3, or he's actually position 5, but they're both locked to this lane, and he's getting like the same amount of golden experience as the LC, but him not showing up to a fight isn't nearly as important as the LC with like phase and duel showing up to a fight. So you guys have a super strong carry, you have the extra gold from this, and then you have 3 heroes up here pushing this when they have like how do they deal with that? You just punch the tower. If they go on you, you eclipse and they die, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, so going back to where is it? So it's 6 minutes and 40 seconds in the game before your your second set of tangos actually do anything. And it's kind of like, imagine if you got your wand sooner, you'd probably have like an extra 50 to 100 health right now just from the region alone. If not also for like the 2 or 3 stick charges that you could have got or whatever. And then you wouldn't need to tango right now as bad. And then you could like fly out the Sage's Mask and a tango, and then pick up the Ring of Protection from the side shop, and you'd be like just as well off, but the LC would have been in a lot stickier spot, and you'd have more health, and you would have got your tread sooner, and all of these small things add up. And like right now, wouldn't you kind of rather have a salve than tangos?
Yeah.
And that kind of like later game, the later the game goes, the better salve gets, because one of the cons of salve is usually when you start the game, salve is like more than 66% of your health. So by the time that you're gonna get the full use of the salve, you're like too low. Like you're at a point where you probably can just die if you're in the lane. But right now, if you have a salve, that means you're at like, you can be at like 300 health. Luna's, she doesn't have like the greatest strength, so she's kind of a bad example. But right now you could be, you can basically salve while still being healthy enough to stay in the lane the later the game goes. And why'd you skip these last hits? Were you scared of duel?
Not duel. I was just anyone rotating down.
Oh, yeah, I guess the ogre wasn't giving good vision. Well, you see, you have vision of, all of their heroes, and you know snipers down here. So it's kind of like, if you switch to strength treads, there's nothing that's gonna kill you right here. Like, she's level 5. You'd have to be, like, headshotted and shrapnelled at the same time, and you wouldn't be able to stick while on agi treads for you to die here, I think. And that's just kind of like understanding what your threats are. Like, right now I'd be scared of assassinate, but I'd realize I can just switch to strength treads and wand up if I see the thing. It has like a second cast time, and the LC is not going to run up and duel you because she's level 5.
So I read somewhere that having the treads on agi and getting that extra armor was better than the strength.
No. It gives you like 1.6 armor right now. If you have strength treads right now, you have 25% more health. But if you're on agi treads, you have like
wouldn't I only gain like 30 health?
You would gain 25% because you're going from 800 to 1,000. So proportionately, like right now, you would gain 25% of whatever this is, which is almost 100. And 100.
Is it only 8 strength though?
It's 10 strength. Agi treads are better if you have lifesteal, or if you have health regen and you're like jungling. But if you feel like you're gonna die, or if you're in a fight or something, strength treads are a lot better. Because agi treads, they give you more armor, and they give you more attack speed and damage. So if you have lifesteal and you're jungling, they're definitely better, unless you're gonna like die from that camp. But if you're in a fight, like most pros, if you watched their fights, they're usually just on strength treads, or they're switching between strength and like intelligence, or if they're super far ahead and the enemy can't kill them, they can like go to agi or whatever. But it's just like, it's 6 agility per armor, so it gives you like 1.6 armor. And 1.6 armor will give you like whatever, like 6% physical resistance. So if you were gonna get right click to death, strength's still better. If they cast any spells at all, strength is like massively better.
Okay.
Does this all make sense?
So agi when jungling, strength otherwise.
Kind of. It's a lot more complicated to do it like perfectly than that. Like, if you're in a fight and you're about to cast your spells, your intelligence pool is low enough that you want to be casting your spells on int at the beginning of the game. Like, if you have a Scotty or some shit like that, it doesn't matter. But it really does matter in the early game. Because you can basically get, like, how much does int give right now? I think int gives, like, 12 right now. So it's basically, like, if you cast your full... If you cast 4 of these on int treads, you kind of get, like, another one for free, which is huge. So int's very important for casting your spells, unless you're like a hero that it... Like, if you had treads on like PA or some shit, it doesn't matter too much, because your spells cost like fucking nothing. So int tread's really important on Luna, and then like Chaos Knight or Sven, heroes like that, where they have Wraith King's another one, where they have very impactful, expensive spells, and they have small mana pools. And then, aside from that, if you aren't in the habit of tread switching, that's the main thing to look for. And then if you're in a fight, just stay on strength treads. Or if you're like scared of getting ganked, stay on strength treads. But if you feel safe, and you're just like farming or whatever, then yeah, you can go on Agi. Or if like there's no way that they turn around and kill you, then you go on Agi.
Alright.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Feels bad.
Yeah, I didn't see the puck there.
I think because you went treads first, going the Aquila's wrong afterwards.
Okay.
Because until you... What was that?
Mask of Madness.
Yeah. Because until you have that Morbid
lifesteal.
Mask, you're locked to being in a lane. So now you're going to be locked into being in a lane until like 11 minutes in the game, which is kind of like... You don't really want to be doing that. And this is a... So with this, the way that you don't have this happen where it aggroes on you next is when this guy dies, just stop attacking, like walk over here or some shit, and then wait for it to re-aggro, and then you can start attacking again.
Right there, I got aggro on the tower.
Yeah. You're gonna take 150 damage unnecessarily, and you're gonna miss like 5, 6, 7 attacks on the tower, which is like 200 damage.
Okay.
And like if you were on it the whole time, this would probably be at like 1,000 instead, and she might not have had to ult to get the tower.
Alright.
And right here, I wouldn't be scared of this dude. Like you... One sec. I'm looking at... Yeah, you see the sniper, you see the LC, you see the CM. I would run at this guy and pop my ult if he doesn't cancel his... And then I'd also take the tower. Because then you get a free kill, you get a free tower, you can push out this lane, and then you're pretty close to your Morbid Mask, and then you don't really care if your ult's up or not. Because, like, so you not using it here, it'll keep you, like, strong and relevant, but then you'll miss the tower kill, you'll miss the hero kill, and then you're kind of, like, you're stuck in lane. Basically, if you use this, you kill this guy, you'd be really close to Morbid Mask, and then you wouldn't care if your ult's down, because you can just farm the jungle while waiting for it to go back up. And you would get objectives, and you would delay this guy being useful.
Okay.
And here, I would definitely go for another wave. I'd be killing this right now, because that's a lot of golden experience, and then that also means that somebody has to react to this, which will probably be this guy, but he's like low. So you could be killing him right now if he comes to the lane. Or you could at the very least be pushing this to the tower, and then like you guys could have just kept pushing, you and the DP. You have a catapult, you have Aquila, this guy dies if he shows up, and these guys are trying to push another tower. So right now, if you glyph and you push this tower, then they're kind of like, alright, well, do we go defend and not take this tower, or do we take this tower and lose like 600, 800, 1,000 health on this tower? And here, you should be taking another wave. Like, what's stopping you from pushing this right here? You don't have the health to really be jungling, and there's a creep wave like right here. And one of the big things about creep waves in the early game is they don't cost health to take. And they're quicker to take. And then also, by you taking this, yeah, you'll be closer to the mask, but it's also, if you take this, your creep wave's going to push to their tower, and then they're going to have to react to that or take tower damage. And split pushing is one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand, the lower the rating. I think it's like below 5k, below even like 5.5k, people don't really understand it. But like, if you have this creep wave at this tower, them doing this fight, they can't really deal with you if you start attacking this, right? So that makes a situation where you're going to be getting more gold out of the lane than you are the jungle right now, because you don't have the Morbid Mask. And you probably get more out of the lane anyways. It's just kind of like, if you jungle, you're safer, and your support can get stuff out of the lane, but you don't have your mask, so you can't jungle, and there isn't a support here to take this. So this is just being completely wasted, and you're not going to get anything over here. So if you push this up, you can get a ton of damage on this tower while they're taking this fight, and maybe like LC TPs to this tower instead of this one, and then you just go mid and you guys win the fight. Or nobody TPs and you possibly kill this tower. Or somebody TPs alone and you can just eclipse them. Or like, it just opens so many possibilities. And at the very least, if you feel too scared to push this tower, you can at least have the creeps on the tower, and that'll make it so if anyone shows up to this lane, a lot of your creeps will have died by then, instead of there being a massive wave building up that's slowly pushing into this. Yeah. So it's like, you're killing off your creeps, you're doing damage to the tower, you're creating an ultimatum for the enemies, you're opening up kill potentials for yourself. If they have to rotate, then you can head mid instead, and then you just win the fight, because it's like 5v4 with some dude over here in a lot of situations. It's not for this exact one, but it's a lot of situations. But like, or you could just like go back to base and get health while nobody's threatening you here, and you could be getting tower damage or kills or whatever. So it's kind of like, it's fine that you get the bounty runes, but it's like, you could have also pushed this, and then, so here, let's just look at this. You could be pushing this, and then the next wave, right here, and then get this bounty rune, and then get this bounty rune, and then, like, maybe this is up now. But, like, now you come back, and you've missed how many creeps. This isn't even close to the tower, so it's not threatening anything. And now the fight's over, so you don't have that opportunity anymore. And in the last 40 seconds, all you've done is stagnate the creep wave here for a bit, and then get the bounty runes, and then push when they're able to deal with it. Does this all hit home?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, this is where like Agi's better, because you have more armor, you have more attack speed, you have more damage, so you clear the creep waves faster, and the
that keeps you alive.
Yeah, it's like maybe if you're jungling a camp on strength treads, you only gain like 3 health a second, but if you're on Agi, you get like 20 health a second. Or even worse, if you're on strength treads, you don't do enough, so you actually lose health. But yeah, it's kind of like, you haven't used Eclipse once this game. And like, you could have used it there just to be safe, or you could have used it on the ET and got that tower. And then, that's another thing, if you used it on the ET when he was TPing here and you got this tower, you would have also got like 600 more damage on this tower. And then when you had the situation here where you cleared the creep wave and then went for the bounty runes and then came back and cleared it, if you instead pushed there, you would have had this tower dead. With those 2 changes, the 2 small changes where you just ult this guy and then take the tower, and then the small change of you push this out and then you get the bounty runes after, you would have had this tower killed by now. Would you agree with that?
And go into Aquila first instead of Treads.
Yeah. If this isn't dead, it's like very, very close to being dead.
I gotcha.
And then also, imagine how the game would have changed if you got this, at the 5-minute mark, you denied your catapult because you went treads instead of Aquila, but if you went Aquila first, and then you pushed the tower, and you got some damage there, you would have killed it off probably like 3 or 4 minutes sooner. And then imagine if you went top right after you cleared this tower, and then pushed it up, and then you took this tower, along with it, and then you just snowball from there, because you guys have 4 cores, so as long as you guys don't get behind, you're going to win the game.
Gotcha.
And this isn't like hard stuff to do, it's just like realizing that it's an option. You're scaring me with that wand, dude.
So many charges.
Yeah, you were at like 150 health with full wand charges almost. I would have used it just to be safe.
Okay.
But I mean, you didn't die, so I guess I would be wrong there. But it's kind of like a percentage thing. Like, if there's a 25% chance you die there by not using your wand, but you live if you do use your wand, it's kind of like, do I want to, if you average it out and be like, would I 1/4 die to save these wand charges, if that makes sense?
Okay.
Like, lose 1/4 of the gold in time and experience and give 1/4 to them. Would it be worth holding these wand charges? And now here, I'd keep pushing until, like, you want to push until they react. What was that?
Until they respawn.
Yeah, when they respawn and there's enough people here to stop you from pushing, then you want to go somewhere else. But by doing this, you allow them to just kind of like casually react with one support.
Understood.
And then if you do this, where you push hard and then, like, you want to push hard enough that they react, but not hard enough that when they do react, you all die. So then you could like TP up here and take this tower if you pushed this harder and made them react. Or like they are reacting, but you might not know that they're reacting. I guess you do. But yeah, still, you're gonna get level 2 ult before you use it a single time. Kappa. Okay, good, you're killing this.
Yeah, I didn't want to get dueled there.
Ruh-roh. Ruh-roh. Oh, he has a blade mail too. That might be why you're down new. So even with Satanic and BKB.
Yeah, they both had blade mail. And this is my bad, I didn't see for there.
Gotcha.
Is BKB next the right item to go? What I didn't want was to kill myself if I use Eclipse and they use blade mail.
Yeah, I like the blade mail or the BKB here.
Okay.
I think it's just kind of like if you did the other things that I talked about, you would have got the blade mail sooner, and they'd be weaker, and you'd have more towers taken, and you'd be snowballing harder and all that. Here, I would be running at this guy, ready to Eclipse, and then cast a Lucent Beam on the CM when she turns back to do this.
Okay.
And if you get the double kill here, you basically get this tower. So you're kind of missing out on a kill and at least a lot of damage to the tower by holding your Eclipse.
Alright.
And this is kind of like, this is a minor thing, but it might actually matter here. When she's stunned, you should attack and then move up a little bit, and then attack and then move up a little bit, and then attack and then move up a little bit.
Okay.
Because that'll make... What was that?
I'm not as far then, so I get a free attack.
Yeah, you'll basically be like right here when she's done being stunned. So then when she runs this way, you won't be like chasing her to right click. Like she would have been killed by now, and now you guys are gonna I guess you get her. But it's still like that would have been the better thing to do there. And here I'd be using Mask of Madness.
After I use my working.
Yeah, like you should be Lucent Beaming too. Like you should ult Lucent Beam and then Mask of Madness.
Okay.
Like it probably wouldn't have changed anything there, but it's kind of like you're very reluctant to use this, it looks like.
Sometimes. I still sometimes use it if it's inappropriate also. Like when I need to cast on silence because I used it.
Well, it's just kind of like, after you cast Lucent Beam, if your ult's not up,
there's nothing really to cast until it comes off cooldown.
Yeah. Like, you're gonna have a 2-second overlap where this is up or you're silenced, but it's kind of like, if you're afraid of that, just don't buy Mask of Madness on Luna. Because there's never going to be a situation where you're not going to have spells to cast for 8 whole seconds on Luna. Because she has a 6-second cooldown.
I use it to farm like the jungle.
Yeah.
And I break it down into a butterfly and a satanic.
My recommendation would be try to be a little bit more dangerous with using it, because if you use it and it goes too far and you it's wrong, you're gonna learn from it. But if you just don't use it, you're not gonna learn from it. It's hard to learn from the mistakes that you're too scared to make, type of thing.
See right there, I wish I wasn't silenced.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of understanding your ult's coming up in a few seconds. But, like, that's an example of, you used it and it didn't work out perfectly, so at least you know you should try to time it around your ult. So if your ult's going to be up in 3 seconds, it's usually not...
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, if you were just, like, passive there, you would have done the right thing, but it would have been, like, you wouldn't have learned from it. So this death here is a combination of you running out of Dream Coil and you being on agility treads the whole time.
As opposed to...
Yeah, you would have... Right now, you'd have an extra 200 health. And then you wand, and you're sitting at, like, 500 health instead of what you're at right now. So if you had 500 health right now, wouldn't you be fine?
Yeah.
And if you were fine there, you could have stopped the CM's ult, which would have meant you might have still died here, but it's like CM wouldn't be ulting right here. Your death profit wouldn't be as low here, and then she could man fight the sniper, and you might kill the sniper also, and then she still has her ult out maybe, and then she can like go on the tower. I think you might have wanted to go Manta here, because that allows you to, like, right now you could be pushing this tower with your Manta, and it's kind of like no amount of items are going to make you feel safe pushing this, because LC can always just duel you, unless you have like Lincoln's BKB, which would make you super weak, and then you could still just die if they like start it with a CM frostbite or some shit.
So even against the sniper and LC, like that AoE they have, I still want Manta.
Well, the Manta would allow you to split push, and then it would also be, if the LC blinks on you and you can react to it, you Manta, and then he has to figure out which the real one is while you're activating your BKB and Mask of Madness before he can duel you. So it gives you a little bit of time. I'm also thinking Hurricane Pike, because you can just like get out of this guy's shit, and then if she blinks on you and she doesn't immediately duel you, you can Hurricane Pike her. And and that'll give you time to Mask of Madness, PKB, and Eclipse. And then it'll also give you a little bit of mobility to try and stay on this guy in certain situations. But yeah, I don't exactly know what the perfect build would have been in this game, but those are the things that I'm considering. And this is, you should be pushing instead. Like, you're not really in a big threat right here. You have vision of any movements that they're gonna make except for this path. And then you even scout this guy out. So it's kind of like, what are you even... All you're doing here is letting them know where you are. You're not gonna kill a puck. All you're gonna do is, like, die here. And this is like, why aren't you pushing bottom? You could push this and then the next wave. This wave, and then the creep wave would end up being right there, and they'd have to deal with it. Instead, you kind of like run around in here, and then you go take Ancients. Yeah. Farming the jungle is kind of like, in most situations, it's what you do when you can't do anything else. Except for in like the first 10 minutes where you farming opens up a lane for your ogre or your faceless void or DP or whoever.
Okay.
I think you should be using your butterfly here to get on the CM. It kind of sucks these guys both have blade mail, so you can't attack them. But if you get on her sooner, you kill her, and then you can switch to the sniper, not worry about the CM disabling you. And then you like use this.
Evasion?
They changed it so this doesn't get rid of the evasion anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
It used to be 4 seconds, and it got rid of your evasion, but now it doesn't. It's just a flat movement speed bonus.
Okay.
At least that's what I understand it to be. I'd have to go in a demo to like make 100% sure. But that's what I like read it and sounded it to be, or whatever the wording to make that English.
Too, but they didn't take it
Huh?
away.
Yeah. And then I'd push another wave. The only way that you die is the LC. Anyone else, you can BKB and TP away. So when you see the LC on the other side of the map, you have basically free reign to push. Unless she's been off the minimap long enough for her to like go there and then like do some shit like that and then blink on you and duel you. Would you agree that LC is the only way you die?
I was afraid of sniper too, but yeah, I could BKB and TT.
Yeah, I mean, at least for split pushing. Like, even if all 4 of them go on you, I'm pretty sure you can BKB and TP out with all 4 of them on you except for the LC. And this is, like, I think you don't push enough. Like, right now you should be pushing this, and then you can come here and do this and this, and then catch up back with the creep wave here, and then kill this, and then leave. So there's so many times here that you're just not pushing nearly as deep as you need to be doing. And then you come back to the lane after almost every time to push it out. So it takes like twice as long for you to do it, and it doesn't push out half as much, and you get less out of it. I'd probably just either BKB there and take this, or I would BKB right now and take it. Because, like, you're fucked no matter what. So it's like, why not just try and take the racks?
I thought with the Satanic I could man mode a little bit.
Did you use the Satanic?
Mm-hmm. It went on cooldown.
Oh. Hmm.
That happened like 3 times. He hit me in Satanic up and I died.
So it feels bad.
I think it happens again right here.
Feels bad.
I was looking at the damage taken and most of it was blade mail.
Here I'd be looking to either get AC or Manta. Because the Manta will allow you to keep doing damage when they use the blade mail, because you don't really care if your illusions take blade mail damage. And then you'll also confuse the LC when she's trying to duel you. And you can Manta off Frostbite, and then it also helps with pushing and split pushing and all that, and the movement speed will help you with killing the sniper, etc. But then the AC is kind of like, you have this he's going in the caster build, I think, but he's still mostly he's a lot of physical damage. This guy's a lot of physical damage. Like, all of your guys scale with the attack speed and the armor reduction on the enemies. Like, this DP's ult also, and then with the aura, you'll have, or what is it? You have like 15 extra armor, and then they have 5 less. So you'll take less damage from the blade mail, and they'll take more damage while you're hitting them if they're blade mailed. And then it's also good for pushing. So I'd be looking at either one of those two, or even maybe a Force Staff, just to like not have to use BKB to get out of this guy's ult if you're not, like, you should, or not his ult, your his stomp, but you should be able to run out of that anyways.
I had looked at AC a lot this game, but I thought that the stats from Scotty would make me live longer.
Here, let's... Scotty gives you around 700 health, and I think it's like 4 armor. The attack speed slow would be good for duel, kind of, but Scotty's gonna be like, Scotty on yourself and AC like might be comparable, but like for the rest of your team, the AC is better, and you have 3 other cores on your team that do really well with AC, and the damage you take from blade mail is going to be reduced by your armor, and then from all of this guy's damage, except for like his maelstrom and his shrapnel, which don't really matter, you have blade mail or BKB anyways, and then all of this guy's damage is physical, and this guy's aura is just going to reduce the armor you get from your Scotty. So actually, the reason that you're dying to Blade Mail is because this guy's aura is giving you 0 armor.
And so I'm taking a ton more.
Yeah, you don't have the 56% physical resistance that you should. So you're taking more than twice as much from Blade Mail that you should. So I'm pretty sure AC would be the solution this game.
Okay. I had debated that a lot.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised why you were dying so quick, but for whatever reason, I didn't consider this guy's thing. Yeah, you just have 0 armor next to him.
Okay.
But yeah, I think this replay's pretty much spent. I don't think we're gonna get too much out of it. Do you have any questions or anything? We're at a little bit over an hour.
Okay.
So we have like another 5 or 10 minutes, and we're gonna count it as an hour and 15. So we could go over another replay real quick, or we could look at builds in your games and see if I think those are fine, or whatever you want to do.
I mostly stick with similar build.
Who the fuck did you lane against? Slark?
I don't remember.
It's definitely not the Skyrath, because you held your Tangos until...
I think it was Slark.
Yeah, probably. Let's actually go to your later games, because it's more refined there. We already went through the first 3.
I was laning against the Axe and Husk.
Great. So with that, the boots early are really good.
Yeah, I wanted to get away.
Yeah, because if they get on you, then you're in trouble, but if they don't, you don't really care. And then the rest of the game kind of looks like... Basically, if you can deal with Huskar, you're going to win this game.
So I went early, maybe. After Mask. I went Mask into maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. I think the Aquila might not have been the build this game. Because, like, your win condition isn't snowballing off of early towers. It's just not losing the game early. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So the Aquila doesn't really help too much with trying to just not lose the game. And you could have had your Mask a few minutes earlier, and then you would have let your Oracle and Shadow Shaman, or whatever, one of the two, get their level 6s sooner.
Okay. My thought process was getting the armor and the mana regen would let me live longer against an aggressive lane.
Well, the armor doesn't really do too much against these guys, because they're not really like the right clicks. It's this guy's gonna snowballs and shard you for most of the damage, and then this guy's gonna spin on you. And that's where most of the damage is gonna come from. So your Morbid Mask would allow you to regen better than the Ring of Aquila would allow you to. Like you're comparing 3.5 armor from Aquila to lifesteal from Vlad or Morbid Mask.
Is Axis been physical or?
It's pure. Yeah.
Okay.
And then this guy's magic damage mostly, and he didn't get an Orb of Venom, so he sucks. But yeah, I probably I think the Mask of Madness is fine. I would have skipped the Aquila and went probably straight BKB, because they can't really fight you. If your Oracle does well, that is. If this guy ults you, does he go fucking Dagon? Yay. If this guy ults you when you're above the threshold of Axed and you have a BKB, you're gonna win the fights. Just because they don't really... Huh?
Yeah.
He was mid?
Mm-hmm.
Lol. Alright, whatever. Fuck that game. But yeah, that's my thought process on it for that one. Do you have any final questions?
No.
Alright. I think you're too, you like breaking your Mask of Madness too much. Like, what does Butterfly really do this game? Whose right clicks are you trying to dodge? This guy has a fucking... Yeah. So it's kind of like, wouldn't you rather just have a Manta? Manta does, like, the same shit, but better. In this exact game. Yeah, I think this game was a stomp, though, so...
It absolutely was.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. But yeah, so I think we should wrap it up here, and then I'll upload this to YouTube, and then,